What's up everybody, just wanted to do a quick video showing you that I am still making progress on this pack shell of mine. I just got done or wrapped up the Syncgen. It is for the most part done, but I still need to add in all the 1/8 plates that go around it. I haven't got that far yet, but I just wanted to show you the bulk of what I did on the Syncgen here and share some of the hiccups and problems that I've run into. Someone was kind enough to send me an outline of the hero shell, which has helped tremendously, but it's also given me some problems with understanding the widths and getting all the spacing right up top with the measurements I have, because on the screen use shells there's a lot of warping going on that you gotta try to account for. If you're just trying to do everything perfectly straight and perfectly square, you can't account for slopes and stuff that was going on the hero shell. So it was a bit of a problem for me really trying to get this to match the screen use shell, but I think I worked it out and figured it out. Another thing that you always want to try to get right on your Syncgen if you're building it is getting all the spacing right, you know. Like right here, there's a certain measurement from the frame of this cyclotron to the edge of the Syncgen. So I'm trying to get every little measurement correct. Another weird thing on the hero shells that I discovered this time around was this Clippard Spacer here. I 3D printed this and modeled it to spec of the screen use hero shells. And what's weird about it is this is what you call it, it's oblong. So this is kind of like a egg shape where, I'm sorry, my camera's kind of blurring there. It's taller than it is wide. So wide, this top spacer right here is 3 1/8 wide. On the top part here to the bottom, it's 3 1/4. So it's 3 1/4 and then 3 1/8 going this way. And it's really weird, but it was a detail I want to try to recreate on this. So we got it on here. I just 3D modeled it, saved myself the trouble of having to cut it out of styrene, and it turned out awesome. This vac spacer right here is also 3D modeled, and I 3D modeled the Cyclotron Rings. And these are all to spec to the screen use hero shells. And here's what I did with that groove in my last video that I showed you. I filled in that channel with putty and then came back and sanded it. I still need to sand it a little more and maybe round it off a slight bit, but it looks pretty good. You're probably wondering where all this primer's from. When I'm building, sometimes, especially with styrene, I get what's called white blindness. So I spray these areas. It just helps me to see the spacing where I can actually see the shadows and whatnot. Whereas when it's white, it's very hard for me to tell, even when I have the measurement there. So I like to do a little bit of spraying of primer just to kind of see, okay, does that shadowing look good on that rounded edge? You know, does the spacing look good here? And it also helps because eventually I'm just going to primer the whole thing anyway and fill it in. So it's no big deal. A detail that I see a lot of shells that they miss. This is something I got on my original shell also, but they'll have this spacing from the frame of the cyclotron to this area too big. There should be a little bit of hangover with this ribbon cable clamp. You can kind of see there. There's probably like an 1/8 inch hangover on these corners. And that's kind of what you want. That's how it is on the screen use shells. Now these ribbon cable clamps on the hero shells varied. I mean, this one's perfect to spec. This was probably laser cut or water jet cut, I'm not sure. But the screen use shells, you could tell they were all kind of cut by hand. And some of them vary in size, but most of them all have just that slight hangover on this top part of the Syncgen. For the height of the Syncgen, we're right around 3 inches. That's where it should be on the screen use shells. I also 3D printed these boxes here for the Syncgen. The plates I'm probably just going to do by hand. But yeah, these are just spec, hero spec. Woo. So that's where we're at so far, guys. We're making progress. I feel like the hardest part is done, but then I say that, like, I thought this Syncgen here was going to be a lot easier than the Cyclotron, but because of the hero shell outline that I was using, it just didn't make sense to me. It just, because it's different when you're using an outline, you want the right spacing in all of these, okay? But if there's a warpage where this is at a slant, or there's certain angles going on that I can't account for, it's not going to match up with the hero shell outline. So that's the problem I was having. I had all this perfectly correct, but when I put it on the hero shell outline, it didn't match up in certain areas. So I had to kind of manipulate some of the plates. A heat gun worked well, and it kind of opened it up, kind of blossomed it a little bit like a flower almost, and then it kind of helped just fit right on that outline. So I'm very happy with this. We're going to keep making progress. I'm probably going to take a little break from it for a while. The next part I want to do is, of course, the plates for the Syncgen, and then do the spacer that goes in between the Syncgen and the crankgen and all these other parts that are over here. So thank you guys for watching, and on to the next one.